release box turtles are fascinating in that where they are born, they will live within a half-mile of that area their entire lives. So if we don't know where he came from and we release him, he will go back to where he came from, which may be very, a dangerous trek. So we have started as our ambassador, and we will raise. He will live for a long time in captivity. Their lifespan is about 50 years. If he was in the wild, actually, I'm not sure I know that information, how long they live in the wild.
Once a turtle gets mature, they'll live to be 50 years. The lifespan is shortened because when the turtle's born, when it comes out of the egg, it's exactly like this, and it's about that big. Perfectly formed shells, feet, heads, everything. Because their mom's not with them. They crawl out of the egg, they're on their own. They just go off and start living. When they're that small, raccoons like to eat them, great little herons love to eat them, crows will eat them, they have a lot of things that really eat little turtles. Once they get to this size, they have a lot less predators. Although every year we get a few of them in and get them told what a box turtle does. Why it's called a box turtle.
Oh no, I haven't.
So they're called box turtles because, so to speak, are their head and their front legs. And they've if you look at this little line going across the bottom, that's a hinge. He actually closes the bottom of the shell, the plastron, up against the top, surrounding them completely by a shell. So we get one or two in. Got one in last week. The front right side was all chewed up. A raccoon was trying to eat turtle for dinner, but he had his shell completely closed and couldn't get at him. And he'll live and he'll be turned back to the wild. I don't know what the shell is made of, do you? It's really hard. What's it made out of, guys? It is covered with the same thing as my fingernails. Absolutely. Keratin. So the thing that makes my fingernails shiny and my hair shiny is keratin. And that covers us and covers his nails as well. Yeah. This is a boy. The common way of telling a boy is wrong. They say red-eyed box turtles are male. That's about 2/3 correct. Most of the males are red-eyed. The way to really tell on a box turtle, this is for every turtle. See, he's got a little indent on his side. He's a male. The female's plastron is perfectly flat. So I still don't know what the shell's made out of. It's really hard. Yeah, I'm going. What's this thing made out of? A rock? That's really hard, but that's not what it's made out of. Not cartilage. Bones, there we go. This is his backbone and his ribcage. It's on the outside of his body. It's all bone covered with fur, which gives it the pretty color. You got it.
So, speaking of, Mr. Arnie was telling us what likes to eat turtles. What do you think turtles like to eat? What do you think turtles like to eat? They do. They eat vegetables, plants. What else do they like to eat? Okay. Flowers, those are also plants. What do you think turtles like to eat? Leaves are also plants, so we've established they eat plants. Anything else that a turtle eats? Are they vegetarian?
No.
There's 3 different kinds of how we identify what animals eat. They're either they eat
Not right now. Pay attention.
or some other kind of. What do you think? All right. lettuce are plants, so they could also eat. Starts with an M. Meat.
Omnivores?
That is a good, they are omnivores. That's exactly what they are, because they eat plants. They eat plants and they eat meat. They're omnivores. Let's see. Any other? They might eat worms, slugs. Those would be the meat sources that they eat. But they'll eat berries and mushrooms and lettuce, leaves. Yes. What are you thinking? That's true. They will eat fruits. Okay, lots of fruits and vegetables. Okay. So we're going to bring out another reptile that we have. This reptile is going to have some different characteristics. If you could all help out a lot by raising your hand if you have something a question you want to answer. Mr. Army's going to walk with his friends. Try to have your voices quiet and your ears listening, okay?
Okay,
Go ahead.
Darth is a pro. You have your hands on, I'm going to chat for a while. Darth is a pro. Darth's been with us for 7 years, doing us. 7 years. This guy's only been with us a year. He gets a little upset. They got a little loud yesterday, and he got very upset and had to put him right away. So the quieter you stay, the calmer this guy's probably going to stay. He's pretty new at this game. And like most of our reptiles, he's not really sad story. Remember what Miss Jen told you, that they got tired of their turtle? They knew it was sick and they didn't want to pay for it to get better, so they just dropped it off to us. Both of our snakes have the similar story.
Snake. Wow.
Quiet! Level 0.
We assumed he was on the move, got a new job or something. They left him locked in an aquarium, no food and water, for 8 months. I don't know what the situation around the recovery was. The policeman tried to make the recovery, but it was so aggressive and mean that he gave up and called us, and one of our staff went out and rescued. She got bit, but she made the rescue. We had, it took about 3 or 4 months to get him healthy again, so that he was used to being fed regular, used to having clean, fresh water, and all nice and healthy. And then people like me would say, okay, I'll handle it now. Because during that first 3 or 4 months, any hand that came in there was food to this guy. I don't know if it's a guy or girl, so I call it. But this is a very common snake in South Carolina. This is a black rat snake. Let's see. Anyone have any idea what rat snakes eat? Mice? Yes. Mice, that's what they really like to eat. Now, she can eat a good-sized rat. She can eat a rat that's fatter than her body. When you look at the little tiny head, you look at that big fat body, you go, how does that work? Well, they can open their jaws so big. Yeah, their jaws aren't hardwired together like ours are. They're held together by cartilage. so they can actually lower their jaws, and the jaw splits open both ways. When she eats whole. So your mom wouldn't like you if you wanted to play a snake. They don't chew their food. They swallow one big chunk. And you can watch that big chunk go slowly down the body. It takes about 24 hours to digest their mouse. Whoa. Watch out, Jake.
You said snake.
We don't want to get the snake excited, because if it gets too excited, I'm the one that's probably going to get hit.
Let's get a close up on this.
I don't know. Oops, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm starting to get a little anxious here. Now this guy is a reptile. That's why he's looked at me so nicely. Because he's cold-blooded and I'm warm-blooded. So my skin's 98 degrees and his skin's the temperature of this room. So he's saying, hey, this guy feels pretty good. He doesn't really like me that much, I don't think. So I'm warm, and that's good. Now, he's a reptile. The turtle's a reptile. But there's some things about snakes that are very different from turtles. What's different between a snake and a turtle? Yes, sir. They don't have a shell, that's correct. They do swallow their food whole, and that is different. Turtles use their beak and tear their food up and eat it in pieces. Let's see. Young man. They have no arms and no legs. You know, they used to. So snakes are evolved for the same thing we are. About 150 million years ago, they lost their legs and arms, which was an advantage to them. Yeah. They are carnivores. That is correct. They are carnivores. Yeah. Difference between snakes and turtles. Yeah. Good. Closer. Okay, you got one? They shed their skin. They are covered from nose to tail with scales. Unlike me, when I gain a little weight, it just spreads and stops. Snake, as they grow, their new scales grow underneath. And then when they get tight enough, you find a nice fork or a branch, they crawl through it and scrape their old scales off. Interesting factoid. A snake is born with the exact same number of scales it will have its whole life. So a baby snake just has little tiny scales, and the big guy has big ones. They have the same number of scales their whole life. All right, what else we got? Yes? Okay. Yes, I have never been in the greater Perth area of Australia, and I do not know a lot about platypuses, and I can't help you with that because there's a lot of scientists that are having trouble figuring out how to classify a platypus. But I know I'm talking about this snake, and I'm looking for other differences between him and that turtle. They are a lot shorter. Picture. Snakes what? You know what? I didn't know that. See, I thought this snake just didn't like you guys, because he's been sticking his tongue out at you the whole time he's been out. And I thought he just didn't like you. You smell it? Come on. Yeah, they smell a lot with their tongue. So when you get up in the morning and you go, oh, Mom made cookies, Mom made cookies. The atoms in the air went back into your nose into something called Jacobson's organ. What a snake does is he sticks that tongue out, waves it through, and captures atoms from the air, molecules actually, I guess, pulls them back into the same kind of Jacobson organ you got. Only what his forked tongue tells him is where the scent's stronger, top, bottom, left, and right. So if the mouse is heading left, he'll have the stronger mouse sense on the left side of his tongue. They have a very good sense of smell. They need that very good sense of smell because they are cold-blooded, yes, but so is the turtle. That's not a difference. Yeah. Okay, the others get a little tough. Let me just take over for a bit. Have you seen him blink? Snakes don't have eyelids. They never blink. They have specialized scales that go right over their eyes, so they're looking through scales. Now, in some snakes, those scales are really good, like a good pair of glasses. In other snakes, and a lot of snakes, they're not so good. So a lot of times, snakes' vision isn't that great. They have ear holes, just like you have ear holes, but we have ear holes and cups that bring the sound in. They have scales right over their ear holes. So a lot of snakes don't see very well. They go through life with bad glasses and wearing earmuffs. So they rely on their smell. They rely on their very sensitive tummies. They can sense vibration a long way away. So they can feel things moving. And then the coolest thing is they can see heat. So they have little holes around their mouth, and they can see the heat of a mouse against the cold of the sky. So they love to hunt dawn and dusk. And if anyone's into really big words, that means they're crepuscular. That's just a word I like to throw out to make it sound smart. What is it? Can we introduce them? Did I get that? It's Wither. Wither was abandoned as a pet for 8 months with no food or water. Yes? About 6.5 feet. So I'm 6 foot and a touch, and he's about that long. They can get up to 10 feet. I've seen one over 8 feet taken out of a chicken coop and chafing. It was a monstrous looking thing. Yes.
I know, like, with like in fauna states, like rabbit snakes, even one of the biggest snakes is in the dawn. In the dawn. You know, in the dawn, snake.
Anaconda. Do you know how many anacondas we have in South Carolina? I don't know. You have to go to the zoo. You're at the zoo. Yes. Never heard of that. I didn't think they were in the States. I thought they were South America. There are a lot of crazy snakes appearing in the Everglades because people get tired of their pets and they release them to nature. So Florida is being plagued by non-native snakes released as people got tired of their pets and they let them go in the swamps. They don't have natural predators and they're breeding out of control. Yes? I can't hear you. What?
Tim?
Twinkie snake? I don't know what that means. Oh, don't know it. Oh, don't know it. Sorry. I'm not a snake, actually. I'm just a volunteer. Yeah.
I know everything about snakes. So
Everything?
everything.
Okay.
Know everything about snakes.
No,
Well, share a fact.
I know some.
Share a fact with me I haven't shared with you.
Now you've done all of it, but
I have not done all of it. I'll tell you that. Okay. Am I missing anything on snakes?
They have a skeleton.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't finish the heat thing. I went over that really too quick. So a snake with these little holes around its mouth, now the hit vipers like rattlesnakes and bigger holes that you can see easily, they actually see heat images. So they can see the heat image of the mouse against the cooler background and attack it that way. Now, is this a venomous snake? No. Would I be doing this if this was a venomous snake? No. This is a constrictor. I'm not that crazy. This is a constrictor. Not a boa. snake. He's got very strong muscles, and he can wrap himself around his prey and choke them, suffocate them by squeezing. So every time the prey exhales a little, he squeezes tighter until it dies of suffocation. Then he gets it pointed head first into his mouth and swallows it whole. Snakes also have very sharp teeth. So getting bit by a snake usually doesn't hurt much. Because what they're really doing is saying, get the heck away from me. But if they actually bite you, they actually clamp down and bite, which I've only had happen to me once. Their teeth are very short, very sharp, and point backwards in their mouth. So when they bite their prey can't get out of their mouth, can't get away from them. And they'll keep that clamp on there until their prey dies, then twist it, swallow it whole from the small end. So if you get bit by a snake, really bit by a snake, it hurts a lot. You will bleed. You have had that hand up so long, I'm afraid you're going to tear your rotator cuff. What do you got, young man? We do not have any king cobras. I don't know how many king cobras there are in South Carolina. I have, are right in my fingers. My fault. I usually tell this story sort of. If you notice, every time we change animals, we sanitize. I learned that's a really good practice the hard way. I was doing all snakes, and I had set a rat snake down, and I picked up a king snake. King snakes eat other snakes. My hands smelled like lunch to him. And I'm standing in front of groups, and I don't know why Reggie's so agitated. Reggie's acting really agitated. Next thing I know, boom, clamped onto me right here. Because I smelled like food, and it was my fault, not his. He was just being a snake. Okay, I got to keep us on time. So Wither is going to go back and take a nap if I can get her off my arm. That's always the million-dollar question. And we got a next animal coming out is a mammal. So think about what makes a mammal, what are the characteristics of a mammal, and give us a minute to switch over.
Okay. Thank you again for your listening ears and quiet voices. We appreciate that. And our animal friends. All right. So I have a mammal here. This is our mammal ambassador today. Identify a mammal. Fur. Hair, fur. Okay, that's a good one. Mammals have fur. How about another primary feature of a mammal? Yeah, you have the green shirt. They're warm-blooded, okay? And let me call, how about you with the hat? I don't think you've been called. Yeah. How do mammals give birth? I mean, is that the right terminology?
live birds, they don't lay eggs.
They don't lay, okay, right, they don't,
Live birds.
a live bird, right, so they don't lay eggs. Okay. So let me introduce this mammal to you. This mammal is a flying squirrel.
Tough, they really love them.
His name is Miles. Miles is an ambassador animal with us. He's been with us since 2019. He was admitted as a baby. He was brought to us as a baby, and he's blind in one eye. Now, flying squirrels have some really neat features. As I walk around with Miles, you might notice he has really big eyes.
She said it's
He
a
has a flat tail.
lion squirrel.
Looks like he has a lot of extra skin along the sides of his body. And that makes for a really special gift that Miles has.
Pay attention. No.
But those are not here. Yeah. So it is true that they don't actually fly, they glide. They have I know, they are in the middle of this. I'm trying to support it at the same time. So I was just saying, I mean, the flying squirrel doesn't actually fly, they glide. They have skin from about their wrist to their ankle. And you might have seen these flying suits on people sometimes. There's some people that try to imitate a flying squirrel. They can fly about 200 feet or glide about 200 feet. And they're very agile at it. They can make 90-degree angle turns. When they want to stop, their flat tail goes straight up, and that allows, kind of puts on the brakes for them. So they'll fly from tree to tree, and as soon as they land on a tree, they'll go around to the other side of the tree. And that's a strategy for protection. Can anyone think of why they might, if they're flying from tree to tree, land on the tree, turn around to the other side of it quickly? What do you think of strategy might they be using to protect themselves? In case a bird is chasing them, and one of their primary predators would be owls or hawks. They also would be predators of snakes or raccoons, but they try not to stay on the ground very much because they are.
Aiden. Y'all listen.
Their skill set is in the trees. So,
Hey guys, this thing has really sharp teeth. And when squirrels bite, they don't nip. Like I was talking, usually when you get bit by a snake, it really doesn't hurt much. They just say get away from it. Squirrels clamp down until they run out of clamp. So they're going to put their teeth all the way to your bones if they bite you. So keep your fingers out of here. They have very sharp teeth and they're wicked biters. You've never been bitten by a squirrel, find your lesson.
no. Oh. So how about, what do you think these flying squirrels might
Aiden.
looking for their food. What time of day do you think
We got another one.
squirrels would be out? Does somebody have a first? Yeah. They are usually nocturnal, exactly, which means they're doing this at what time of day? Nighttime. You're exactly right. And that is so that they can escape the hunt of the raptor birds, birds of prey. They find flying squirrels in forests, maybe even
There's a flying squirrel.
suburban areas.
You are talking. You can't hear.
They
Wait,
live
I'm gonna let First Lady
in
take it.
nests,
Stay.
like the regular squirrel that we do see all day long around, often in our yards or in the woods. They might build nests or live in tree cavities. They're very social, so they like to live in big groups, colonies. They're very social. Colony may not be the right word. All right, especially when it's cold, they will den together. Let's see. When they're born, they're hairless. I think that's even how Miles arrived.
About a half ounce he weighed.
Tiny, tiny little thing. But they're all born hairless, so that wasn't unusual. And one of the other things, of course, that we do at the Wildlife Center is we're going to raise them until they can be released into the wild. So we get tiny, tiny babies that we have to be as good of a mother and father to as we can until they are rehabilitated and ready to be released. All right, so this is our male, and we also have another bird animal we want to bring out to you. I just gave it away.
So, yeah, it's a bird I'm bringing out. Here's the deal. When I'm standing here with her on my hand, she can hear your hearts beating. If your hearing is so good that you can hear hearts beat, what do you think loud talking sounds like? So the level of noise, and I'm not saying, you guys have done a nice job, but the level of noise between your chatting will sound like screaming to her. So if you want me to be able to keep her out for a while, you're going to have to be just like her, because she's an owl. An owl spend their whole day sitting quietly still in the woods, listening. That's how they hunt. They hunt first with their ears. I'll be back. It's in hiding here, trying to keep the noise away.
We need you, please do not make exclamations
This is Ruby. Ruby is the full-grown, as big as she's ever going to get, street child. She was brought to us 2015, right before I got there. Okay. Somebody decided they wanted to have an owl for a pet. Now, having an owl for a pet can get you in jail, so I don't recommend trying. It's actually illegal to have any wild bird as a pet, even the cardinal out of your backyard. You're probably not going to jail for a cardinal, but for an owl, a hawk, an osprey. And that's another reason you don't want to cross the blue line. So, what we think happened, keep your hands on. I'm going to talk a little bit now, guys. Stretch your elbows. What we think happened is someone wanted to take an owl for a cup. So they found a nest. And they waited till the birds fledged. Okay, fledging, when a bird fledges, mom and dad kick them out of the nest before they can fly. A lot of species of birds fledge. Babies are on the ground trying to figure out how to fly back up to the tree. Mom and dad are overhead in case any predators come around. They'll dive on them, attack them, and scare them away, protect their babies. Well, even two mean screech owls aren't going to carry away a determined human. So they took it as a baby and tried to raise it. And the only thing they did good is they realized the owl was slowly dying. So they brought it to us. We got her all nice and healthy. There's all sorts of gunk on her feathers. We had to clean her feathers with Q-tips. She also needed a saline solution. We got her all nice and healthy. We sent her up to the Raptor Center. We put her with other owls her age. What they do is they put them in a big aviary and release mice into them. So the owls can show, I can hunt mice. I'm a good owl. I'm a good owl. You can let me go in the wild. Well, Ruby researched her food her whole life on platter. So when all those other owls are diving around, she wants to look over here. I can't make her look. There we go. So they were diving around getting their mice. She just sat there going, nobody's giving me my mouse yet. I need my mouse. She refused to hunt. So they finally said that she was unreleasable, and we got a permit to take her back as an education animal. She's been with us 7 years. She's been with us 7 years. She should be with us another 10 or 15. They live 20-ish years in captivity. Look how small she is. Out in the wild, 5 to 7 years. She's food to a lot of other animals out there. Bigger owls will eat her. Hawks will eat her. Falcons will eat her. A lot of things will eat her. She gets on the ground. A lot more will eat her. I think I haven't got this corner yet. Be careful, I don't think she'll poop you yet. You know what? She's very beautiful and she knows it. So, like, I'm sorry. Here's the life of an owl. They sit there, very quiet, very still and free. Matter of fact, has anyone in here ever seen one of these in the park? I've got a couple here, that's very rare, because they sit 30, 40 feet up in a tree. They're only that big, and they sit perfectly still. And actually, during the daytime, they kind of sit still and thin. They're trying to look like a skeletal branch. And all they're doing is listening. Remember, I said she has super hearing. She can hear your heartbeat. She sits there. Usually she hunts at night. She, like the snake, prefers dusk and dawn, but most after that night because they're incredible night vision. When she hears something that sounds like food, she'll turn her head, and you guys have seen me turn her head. She has to turn her head because her eyes are so good. They are longer than they are round. So I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. I'm not moving my head. Owl can't do that. Owl can only see exactly where its head is pointing. That's why it has 5 extra vertebrae, and they're wider than a normal bird, so the nerves and blood vessels don't get twisted, and she can turn her head almost all the way back around. She can't spin it around like in cartoons, but she can turn and look behind her. So she turns her head to see if that's dinner. If it's dinner, she will glide quietly. You cannot hear an owl in flight. We do not have good enough hearing, and thankfully neither do mice. So the mouse is sitting there munching on whatever it's munching. The owl is gliding silently through the air. As it gets close, it sticks its talons up. It has 4 on each foot. It usually goes 2 front, 2 back for the kill. She's sitting 2 and 2 right now. When those talons and the feet hit the mouse, all 4 talons on both feet close completely through the mouse to the point-to-point close. They're trying to get a major organ kill immediately. Otherwise, that mouse will be like that. By the way, if you ever have a pet that you have to feed mice to or any other animal, feed them dead mice. We feed all our animals dead mice, they don't bite back. You can have an injured pet or an injured animal real easy with a mouse trying to defend itself. Once it gets that mouse, flies back up into a tree and eats it. Eats the fur, eats the bones, eats the nails, eats everything, eats the whole mouse. The next day, a pellet's going to come back out that has all the parts they didn't want. And actually, a lot of times in middle school, they still do this. They will have the dissect the owl pellets, see what it's been eating. Because you can tell if those are the bones of a bull, or a mole, or a mouse, or a snake. Notice everything that lives thing is an animal. They are carnivores. They are not carnivores.
Go to First Lady and tell her, like,
I'll take questions now. They are camouflaged very well. If you think of her 40 feet away in the air, sitting still on a tree limb, the chances of seeing her are somewhere near 0. She camouflages very well. We call her Ruby because she's red-phased. There's 3 kinds of screech owls. There's red-phased, brown-phased, and gray-phased. Brown's the most common, but she's a little reddish, so we call her Ruby. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people with parrots. But why just leave it back?
Parrots? Okay. It's illegal to have wild native birds. It's not illegal to have a parrot, parakeet, canary, things you buy at the pet store. Those are legal. You can't go in your backyard and capture a cardinal and try and make it a pet. That's against the law. Other questions? Yes, sir. Do you know what kind they are? What do they sound like? Do they sound like? That'd be a great horned owl. Otherwise, the most common one is, that's a barred owl. Those are the most common owls you hear in your backyard. They call this a screech owl, and I'm going to really embarrass myself now. Because they have a very high whinny like a horse. They don't. All raptors screech when they're mad. She has screeched at me, trust me. But their normal call is just a high, soft whinny like a horse. It's kind of like. It's very haunting to hear these guys. They're very quiet. Any other questions? Yes. Pardon me? No, I'd have to be mean to her to make her scream. She already doesn't like me that much. Any other questions? Yes. That is a great point. Stays up all night, but guess what? Birds don't sleep. They do something called a torpor. So they never, see, like, you go to bed, your door's closed, you're sound asleep, you don't know what's going on in the world, mom and dad, locked house, you're all protected. She's sitting on a branch in the middle of the day. She can't afford to sleep. Matter of fact, you rarely see her close both eyes. Usually you think she's winking at you because you're cute, but she usually always has one eye open. She's never fully asleep. She torpors. She shuts on a part of her brain to let that part rest while another part stays open. She's always on the fence, especially a little one like this, because she's got a lot of enemies out there. Dolphins don't sleep. My favorite is the albatross. The albatross flies 300 days a year, continuous. Can't sleep, he's flying. They just land, mate, have their babies, and they take off again for another 300 plus days. So they're in flight for 300 days. Birds don't sleep. I'm very conscious of the time. It's a little after 3 o'clock. You guys have been great. I'm sorry. I know you'll keep me here for another hour asking questions, but I don't want to get in trouble by going too long. So I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you. And here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to give Ruby a big round of applause by going like this. Okay, I will turn it back over